Welcome back, Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic / Non-Classic. This episode number 858 and Doublehot number 752. Yep. So, with this one, I have one DC trade. Not again. Yeah, for some reason, my YouTube channel is doing that for some strange reason. Anyways, now, on to the review. First up, it is Green Lantern, War of the Green Lanterns. I originally thought this was called War of the Green Lantern Corps. Yep. Written collectively, this big crossover by Jeff Johns, Tony Bedard, and Peter DeTomasi. Jeff Johns writes Green Lantern, Peter DeTomasi writes Green Lantern Corps, well, his return to the Green Lantern Corps, and Tony Bedard does Green Lantern Emerald Warriors. Those who don't know what Green Lantern Emerald Warriors is, it was a book that started with Brightest Day, and it was a Guy Gardner title. Not kidding, it was simply put a Guy Gardner title. I just put the name Green Lantern because apparently DC at that point just didn't want to give Guy Gardner his own self-titled series, even though he had one in the 90s. Yeah, I have no idea why. The artwork for this awesome, epic crossover, yeah, and the way they describe this crossover is epic. Yep. The artwork in this thing is done by Doug Mankey, Tyler Kirkham, Ed Baines, Adrian Sassoff, and Fadra Passion. The cover art for this trade is done by Ivan Reyes, Oscar Albert, and Rod Reyes. Now, what's the story for this crossover? This has sort of a minor build up until it, like some of the stuff in this book basically is stretching back to Green Lantern Rebirth. Not the one that came out a couple years ago. The one that came out in 2005. The one Jeff Johns was to bring back Hal Jordan. And then basically, when the Spectre abandoned him and resurrected him. Also, now, the story for this one is this. Cruella has control of all of the entities from all the cores. And he puts Parallax in the Green Lantern power body, thus turning pretty much almost every single Green Lantern, like with the exception, every single person with the Green Lantern, with the exception of 6 people, to be possessed by Parallax. Here are the people immune from Parallax: Hal Jordan, because he was possessed by Parallax for years; Kyle Rayner, John Stewart, Kilowog, and Ganthet. Yep, I get why those 4. They're the 4 human Green Lanterns. Hal Jordan makes perfect sense because he was possessed by him for years. The other 3 were possessed probably when Green Lantern Rebirth happened. But Kilowog and Ganthet, that's interesting. Yeah, the fact that he possessed these 2 as well. I mean, my guess is Kilowog because they need somebody who's not exactly human, and one Guardian who's a good one. Oh, and by the way, when this crossover ends, the Guardians, with the exception of Ganthet, are all complete dicks, and they basically don't trust Hal Jordan at all. Apparently, they never trusted him at all in the first place. Yep. Now, in the case of Hal, what he's up to prior to the whole possession thing, he's with the New Guardians, which are consistent of himself, representing the Green Lantern Corps, representing the Star Sapphire Corps is Hal Jordan's longtime girlfriend, the one who DC refused a lot to actually marry, Carol Ferris. Atrocitus, leader of the Red Lantern Corps; Sinestro, leader of the self-titled Sinestro Corps; Larfleeze, the only member of the Orange Lantern Corps. We have St. Walker from the Blue Lantern Corps, and that's it. Oh, in case you're wondering, there's no White Lanterns at all. There is no White Lantern Corps. They don't officially establish that until the New Guardians series, which I'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, and eventually find the Book of Black. Yeah, apparently this particular book has been rumored for years, and all of a sudden, like, all these lanterns, with the exception of Hal, all get sucked into this book. I have no idea why. It's bizarre. And these characters, they also run into Lisa Dark. Those who know who Lisa Dark is, she's the keeper of the Book of Parallax. Essentially put, she's the keeper of all the stuff, all of Sinestro secrets. And in the Sinestro title, she and Sinestro had a relationship. Something Colin Buck came up with. I'm not kidding, that's what he came up with in that very title. As a matter of fact, it was very implied they were still a couple even after the title ended. And apparently she was kept in this book. Apparently since Blackest Night. Yeah, so it's been like a good year since she was kept in that book, which is interesting. And Crota, who's main villain in this crossover, Crota is an evil guardian. Yeah, an evil guardian. And he's behind everything. He's basically the main villain. It takes a while, but I do eventually beat him. Now, because everything with going with the Green Lantern rings is basically not working properly, everything says like, okay, we can't put on the Green Lantern rings, so what about these other rings? Okay, so Hal becomes Sinestro Corps Lantern. Guy becomes a... Oh yeah, they also have Indigo 1 representing the Indigo Corps. I almost forgot her. Yeah. We have Guy who becomes a Red Lantern. Hal becomes a Yellow Lantern. Kyle becomes a Blue Lantern. And John Stewart becomes a Indigo Lantern. Instead of like getting a regular uniform, he basically becomes a soldier. Yeah, with his attire, it's so bizarre. Apparently he has his ability is to access other spectrums, which is quite interesting. And then when Gantha sees, he was like, okay, Hal I kind of get because you were on the cover of it before. Guy, yours of death says, John is not eligible, is basically incapable of basically being an Indigo Lantern. And in the case of Kyle, he doesn't have the qualifications to become a Blue Lantern. Yeah. And of course we have this big epic thing. Now, they also indirectly, Mogo is killed during this crossover. Yes, Mogo. The planet Green Lantern is killed. Though for some reason he's brought back after this. For no explained reason. He's killed by, get this, Hal Jordan didn't kill him. Oh no. Guess who killed Mogo? John Stewart. But Hal gets the blame for some stupid reason. It's like these Guardians are complete buffoons. Yeah. Like, everybody knows the Guardians are dicks. And they don't get rid of these characters until, like, after the Wrath of the First Lantern crossover. Not kidding. It takes a good 2 more years with the bullcrap these guys pull before Sinestro finally kills them all. Yep. And also, they also revealed the whole secret behind the massacre of Sector 666. Yeah, it was all Crota. Like, for years, it had been sort of an error on the part of the Manhunters for the responsible for this. Yeah, it turns out Crota had reprogrammed them for doing this. I am not kidding it. That's basically what happens in here. At the end of this, it kind of sets some stuff up for later. Yeah, apparently, Sinestro becomes a Green Lantern again. Yeah, this doesn't last very long. This lasts for a good, like 2 years. And then he's back being Yellow Lantern again. Hal gets fired as a Green Lantern because he killed Crota. Yeah, he kills him. And Guy does whatever. And as for some of the stuff that happens afterwards, that's revealed what happened in the aftermath in the aftermath storyline. Which, yeah, and the stuff basically in that particular thing for what the replacement books. Now, Green Lantern Corps relaunch number 1, like not long afterwards. I mean, these issues in here, 67, that's actually the final issue of that particular volume. And there was no more issues after that. It could be like 3 more issues because Emerald Warriors and Green Lantern Corps continue for another 3 issues before being relaunched. Yep. And of course, while these 2 got relaunched, Emerald Warriors got replaced with New Guardians, which they kept most of the same lineup, except they switched out Sinestro for Arkello, Carol Ferris for Fatality, though Carol Ferris has come back into issue 12. They replaced Hal with Kyle Rayner, and Artrosis, I'm trying to think what was his name. I'm trying to think of his name. Atrocitus. They replaced him with Breeze. Yeah, smoking hot female Red Lantern. Yep. Very epic crossover. Very well done. Don't care what the Guardians did to Hal at the very end, though this kind of gets undone 2 years later with Hal becoming a Green Lantern again. And take a release of the Green Lantern Corps, which lasts for a good year before he has to give it up. Also, they show off Kuroda's his gauntlet here. Also, those of you curious about the Interceptor and Aya, you think, okay, were those creations of the CGI Green Lantern series? No, they actually appear in here for one issue. Yeah, the Interceptor appears in here for one issue. And Aya is the AI intelligence. They only appear for one issue and the ship is destroyed. Yeah, and they're at this planet known as the Greenhouse. Yeah. So if you're curious where the show got that from, they got it from the storyline. I give this one 9.5 out of 10. It's really, really good. I do recommend it highly for people fans of the Green Lantern series, for people fans of Jeff Johns, Peter Tomasi, and Tony Bedard. Yep. Next up, it is in X-Infernus. This collects in the self-titled miniseries X-Infernus, which is a 4-issue miniseries. It also collects a story from X-Men Unlimited. I think this is from the second volume for the series. New X-Men Volume 2, number 37. And a story from X-Men Divided We Stand, number 2. Now, all but one of these stories in here, all but 2 of them, are written by C.B. Zabesky, the current editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics. The new X-Men issue is written by Chris Yost and Craig Kyle. The X-Infernus saga, which kind of basically explains Illyana's backstory, that's done by Geoff York. The artwork for X Unlimited number 14 is done by David Aja. New X-Men is done by Nico Karakhan. David Yarden does the story of X-Men Divided We Stand. The main miniseries is done by Gasaba Kamakali. And the designer for the particular issue is done by, the artwork in here is done by Raulo Marcotti. The cover art in this particular trade is the cover art for the series done by David Finch, Danny Mankey, Jason Keith, and Steve Farcardo. Now, what is X-Infernus? This is a sequel to Inferno. Those who know what the heck Inferno was, it was a crossover from the mid-1980s. Mostly was an X-Men crossover that pretty much involved the entire Marvel Universe. I have done very much review that crossover already, thanks to library getting their hands on X-Men Inferno and Inferno crossovers. Yeah, Illyana was one of the casualties where she got sucked to Limbo. Limbo is sort of this dimension, it's kind of like hell. Yeah, and she was turned into a creature known as Darkchild, where she got hoofs. And she got herself a tail. Illyana Rasputin, the younger sister of Colossus. Yep, and this is also a follow-up to not only Inferno, but also to the second to last story arc of New X-Men, where the New X-Men get sucked to Limbo, and of course this is a follow-up to it. And of course Colossus pretty much saying that, the whole thing of going to rescue his sister, and it's like Colossus, we don't have enough proof yet. And then of course seeing her and seeing this axe, which she actually carries. Yeah, she actually drops his axe when she comes briefly to the real world, and Colossus is like, what more do you need to prove that my sister is alive? I'm going without your approval. Of course, he also goes to the middle form. It's like Colossus was like, okay, you can go, but we're saying 2 teams. You got one of them, but you're not leading one of the teams. Your team is led by Nightcrawler and has Pixie on it, along with a few other characters. They go to Limbo. They fight Basilo's daughter. Even when I read this thing, I'm like, really? That particular demon had a daughter, even though she's human. Yeah, and it was also, from what I read from text online, it was very heavily implied that Basilo had a thing for Illyana when she was a little girl. I am not kidding. Yeah, and he basically raised her in Limbo to be, sort of a successor, even though that he had a daughter, which I don't think anybody knew that he had a daughter. Her name is basically Witchfire. Yep, she's the main villain of the story. And after the story, she is never seen again. No joke. As far as I know, she's never seen again. I would think with Limbo, okay, is this Mephisto's realm? No, Mephisto has a different realm altogether. But this is one fantastic storyline, and I do highly recommend it. It's only a quick 4 issues, but it is really good. This does bring back Illyana, and she stays back, and she becomes part of the X-Men. Well, She was briefly imprisoned by the X-Men for like a year, and then after the events of Fear itself, she became part of the X-Men roster for 6 years. And then for some reason, with the special relaunch they had last year, she was taken off the roster. Oh, I give this book a 9 out of 10. It's really good. Yeah, she was taken off the roster for some reason, and she made like occasional appearances in the pages of Jean Grey. And I think she was put back in the roster in X-Men Gold, and that's the last I can think of for what she's doing now. Oh yeah, she also kind of indirectly responsible for the aborted wedding of Kitty Pryde and Colossus. Yeah. But this is really good. Yep. So if you're a fan of Inferno, I highly recommend checking this out. So that's it for this particular review. Stay tuned for my rest of my videos I plan to do today. But until I see you there, bye.